love eating healthy food and stocking it at home, but you are also aware there's some really smart food marketers out there who have deceived a lot of us into believing their food is healthy when it's actually not. Well, that's what I want to talk to you about today. I am always auditing and upgrading my clients' pantries, fridge, and freezers, and offices. Today, I want to share with you the top 5 worst health foods to be stocking in 2025 and the alternative upgrades to stock instead. Stick around, I'm also adding in a bonus, plus you're going to be learning a lot of how I think as a dietitian so that you can think the same way. Let's dive in. May here, I'm a functional medicine dietitian. I absolutely love helping men and women over 40 look and feel their best by optimizing their hormones, metabolism, and health span. This is the channel you want to subscribe so that you get the latest science and strategies on how to look and feel your best. I also have a really strategic must-have food guide on boosting your metabolism. You can download that for free down below. So to be clear, there's a whole movement around intuitive eating and not labeling food good or bad. And I do believe that there is definitely space for all food to have, acceptance in our lives. But at the same time, we know that we need to build our intuition because a lot of times marketing causes our intuition to be off. So that's what I want to do with you today is help you build that intuition of knowing how to look at food from a nutrition perspective and how to make good choices. Because at the end of the day, it's not naughty or nice, it's good, better, best. We can always be upgrading our food options and we have to balance nutrition with pleasure, right? Good choices with what do we really want to eat. And this is again something that we hold in that intuitive choice making we make every time we put food in our mouth. So let's build that intuition together by educating you about how to look at food and how to see how marketing skews our view of food. Last prescript before we get in is I'm not bashing these companies. I'm not bashing the food. This is just the top 5 that come across my desk the most often of people who think these are healthy, but they actually aren't. So again, this is not an exhaustive list. It's just the top 5 that I see the most often. And again, you can apply this list to broad categories. So like say, I'll talk about a cereal today. You can apply that to many cereals. So again, teaching you to think like me. All right, so here we go. The first worst health food to be stocking, health food, is Kirkland Signature's unsalted mixed nuts. It comes in a bulk about this big, and a lot of people think, wow, unsalted, that must be a lot better. I won't be ingesting all that sodium. Again, beneath the hood, some of the things that we consider with bulk nuts and issues with this is these nuts are roasted or even kind of flash fried. We don't really know how high heat they're using, but they're roasted in peanut oil. And peanut oil is notoriously high in omega-6 fatty acids, it's an essential fat, but it's also more pro-inflammatory. Peanut oil is also prone to oxidation. Even though it has a high flash point, it breaks down very quickly after each use. So depending on how recycled the oil is, how fresh it is, will affect how rancid or oxidized that oil is. The other thing to consider about these mixed nuts in bulk is that we don't have any way to portion control. A lot of times I fall into this habit too because I am a nut fan myself, is we end up grazing on nuts all throughout the day and these nuts end up displacing real food. So have you ever snacked on nuts a little bit too close to lunch or dinner and all of a sudden you don't have an appetite to eat the meal that you made? This happens all the time to my clients. They will accidentally eat 500, 800, 1,000, 1,500 calories just from nuts alone and grazing. So not a fan of going bulk when it comes to nuts, even if you're saving a buck. I'd rather have you pre-portion if you're prone to over snacking on nuts. So an alternative, an upgrade for you to consider is pre-portioned nuts that are not roasted in any oil, just raw. And if you've talked to people like Deanna Minnick, one of my good friends now, she did her whole PhD on this, where we know that the roasting process still damages nuts to some degree, even if it's dry roasting. Going with raw whenever possible is a better option. Now, if raw almonds are just too boring, you know what? You could do chopped pecans that are raw and still have that buttery crunch that doesn't require roasting. So mix your nuts up. Macadamia nuts have more crunch and again, a more buttery texture than raw almonds. But raw almonds, again, higher in protein, easy to find in these to-go packets. There's ones by Blue Diamond that are 100 calorie pack. There's ones by Trader Joe's that are 200 calorie packs. And again, these are staples that you can travel with. I actually am traveling and have my 200 calorie pack Trader Joe's almonds right here. Okay, so if you're traveling, and you want to have these pre-portioned nuts, they're handy for snacks on the go outside the house as well, but great to stock in the house if you want something that is pre-portioned, unroasted, and again, way healthier than buying in bulk, having something roasted in peanut oil. All right, so this is the upgrade. Number 2 worst health food to be stocking in 2025 is Chobani's blended vanilla Greek yogurt. Now, everyone sees Greek yogurt and they go, didn't you tell me I should be eating Greek yogurt for the protein? And yes, if you eat dairy, Greek yogurt is going to have higher protein overall and maybe some more probiotics. But at the end of the day, when you look under the hood at the nutrition facts, you're seeing that the grams of protein is actually less than the grams of sugar. That is a big red flag. We never want more sugar than protein in any food, really, from a blood sugar standpoint. And you should go check out my bar video if you haven't already, because I talk about these ratios in more detail. Go check that out after this. Specifically for this yogurt, a 5.3 ounce serving is 12 grams of protein, also 14 grams of sugar. So again, that's really high on the sugars in general, but there isn't even enough protein to buffer that sugar. So I would rather you do something like an organic, non-fat Greek yogurt. For those of you that are sensitive to saturated fats, genetically, we know that saturated fats can cause more issues with blood flow to the brain that isn't as positive. Again, for genetically susceptible people, we want to stay away from too much saturated fat, which most dairy fat is saturated. So going non-fat, good idea. Going organic, good idea, because remember, dairy is the breast milk of a cow. And you remember, if you ever breastfed, that everything gets into breast milk, including toxins. So organic whenever possible with dairy. And again, I like the non-fat, I like the plain. This is Kirkland's signature that's easily accessible, and you can flavor it yourself with things like cinnamon, fresh fruit, even a little bit of stevia or monk fruit or allulose. And again, you can add things to make them fun, like crunchies. I like to add things like those chopped pecans on there or slivered almonds to get that extra crunch. So dress up your non-fat Greek yogurts. Again, go with unflavored and add the flavor yourself. And just go over nutrition facts for comparison. This Costco Kirkland signature one is for 1 serving. So for 2/3 a cup, you get 18 grams of protein and 3 grams of sugar. And so remember, even unsweetened yogurt has sugar because there's naturally occurring lactose in dairy products. Not that much, but it's still there. And so that's where the sugar comes from. Much better choice to stock at home. 3rd worst health food to be stocking at home are Universal Bakeries paleo bars. You can find these at Costco. You can find these on Amazon. They look crunchy, if you will. They look really clean, but when you actually look at the nutrition facts, they're not paleo at all. 1 bar is 230 calories. That might as well be a meal replacement bar at that point. And it only has 6 grams of protein, 9 grams of sugar. So again, if you're wanting to see a real paleo bar, I'd rather you go with a clean protein bar than something like this. That would be the upgrade. I have a whole list of protein bars that fit my bill in my protein bar video, so go check that out. I oftentimes have my clients stock the right protein bar at home, knowing that, when they're on the go, when they need something fast, that is there and it is the healthiest version available. In general, I want to see protein bars with more than 10 grams of protein, less than 5 grams of sugar, and a protein to carb ratio of at least 1:1, if not kind of more protein than carbs whenever possible, because we want snacks to hold us over, and having that high protein is going to do that without spiking our blood sugar. All right, the 4th worst health food to be stocking in 2025 is something like Kashi's Blueberry Clusters cereal. Now, this includes a lot of healthy cereals out there. Cereals are notorious for being processed and then with a lot of added sugar. So again, always look at sugar when it comes to cereals, and again, look at how much protein, because if there's more protein in there, not from soy isolate, by the way, just cleaner proteins, I would say, you know what? You're getting a better breakfast in general. I did make a whole breakfast video, so go check that out after this as well. I do talk about some cereal brands that are a lot better than something like this. In fact, this particular one, the Kashi's, has 11 grams of sugar, 5 grams of protein, something like 3 Wishes, which is a grain-free cereal. This is like a seasonal one that was on sale at Sprouts yesterday. This is made with chickpea, tapioca, pea protein, cane sugar, cocoa, and natural flavors, salt, and monk fruit. 1 cup here has 3 grams of sugar and 8 8 grams of protein. So you can see this is a nice upgrade. It still has that crunch. It still has that cereal feel. So we're not saying no to cereal, but if we're gonna say yes to cereal, intuitively, we wanna go more towards these kinds of cereals. All right, the 5th worst health food to be ingesting is actually a green drink. And I have a lot of issues with green drinks because usually the first ingredient, if it's apple or carrots, is gonna bump the sugar way over. There's a time and place where you might need sugar if you're gonna like bonk and have a low sugar episode, but we don't need to be drinking apple juice or fruit juice really on a day-to-day basis because it's so concentrated and so high in fructose. This particular one is Suja's Mighty Greens green drink, and I'm picking on them again because they're so popular amongst my clients. There are other green drinks that also kind of fit this category where the first ingredient is apple juice. And for a serving here, one bottle is 18 grams of sugar. I'm trying to keep our total grams of sugar under 24 grams for most people. And you're like 2/3 of the way there with this drink alone. Especially if you're drinking it on an empty stomach, it is just spiking your blood sugar. An alternative would be the same brand, Suja, carries a Uber Greens drink. And when you look at the ingredients, the first ingredient is organic cucumber juice. And so that's a hack. If you're ever ordering green juice, buying green juice, making green juice, instead of cutting that with apple and carrots, cut it with cucumber, lemon, ginger. These are gonna be a lot more palatable, but also a lot less sugar. And it shows in the nutrient facts. You can see one bottle of this Uber Greens has only 5 grams of sugar, so much better for our blood sugars, and you're still getting all those organic greens in. Suja also makes a superfoods powder, which I know is all the rage with AG1, and nothing against them. They do really good marketing, but they're not organic, and there's so many good green powders out there that are organic. So again, my 2 cents is go with an organic green powder that has all the veggies in it, but it's organic. And Suja makes one, so you can shake that up in a bottle. I personally don't love any green powders because the taste is usually a little artificial to me and really gritty. I've never found one that I love, so I'd rather actually drink the bottled version that's ready to go. That's just my personal preference. Or I would do like chlorella or something to get that green in, or I would just make a green smoothie at that point. But that's just me. You can add your green powders into smoothies if you have texture issues like me. All right, I have a 6th bonus worst foods. I couldn't keep it to 5. You know me if you've watched my videos. But the 6th one for bonus is Health Aid's pomegranate blueberry kombucha. Don't get me wrong, I used to make my own kombucha. I used to drink a lot of kombucha. Actually, turns out kombucha is a little acidic for your teeth. So my dentist told me actually if I want to drink kombucha, I have to add a little bit of baking soda. So I'm telling you that too. If any of you have really sensitive enamel, the acid in kombucha is pretty high because it's vinegar based. So anyways, that's my 2 cents on that. But if you're gonna drink kombucha, drink one with less sugar. This particular one has 18 grams of sugar, and the tip off at the top says contains 6% juice. So really, if you're gonna drink kombucha, just drink the straight kombucha, not the blends that have juice added after it's been fermented, because the fermenting process eats up the sugar and it causes it to be a lower sugar item. So I like GT kombucha, just not the Synergy ones, just the plain ones. I like the ginger. But again, always check the nutrition facts for that total sugar line item when you're drinking kombucha. There are now kombuchas sweetened with allulose and monk fruit. Problem is they're also in aluminum cans, which I'm not a huge fan of. That acid and aluminum combination usually requires a lining of some sort. So I'd rather you make your own kombucha or, drink one that's just low in sugar. There you have it, my 5 worst health foods for you to upgrade in 2025. I hope you learned a ton. Comment down below on which particular ones you are upgrading for yourself. And if you want more videos like this, please let me know. Until next time.